Hi, everybody. Welcome back. I hope everybody had a good Thanksgiving. I sure did. I was still able to have a small gathering, my immediate family out in Arizona. Where I'm from in Illinois, they have really, it's a big hot spot right now. Really strict precautions, and from what I have found out from a lot of people in my family, they just had small gatherings, the immediate family, the husband, the wife, and kids, that's it. So, yeah, it's definitely been different. It was really it looked like most people were being adults about it. And I'm sure it was disappointing to a lot, but nobody was throwing a tremendous fit. And I think like I was saying to some people, some of my friends and family members, like it's a shame, but like what, like years down the road, this will just be another distant memory. We'll be looking back. I mean, we'll look back on it and probably won't even really have that much memory of it. Just like a lot of the other events that go on in our lives that years later aren't really that big of a deal, even if we do remember them. A lot of times we don't remember much at all, even though it seems like a big deal, or it seemed like a big deal at the time. Look back on a lot of things in my life like that. So, anyways, what I want to talk about is I hope that we're nearing the end of this pandemic. I see a lot of some people still taking it seriously, and other people, some people, from the start and even up until now, they don't give a crap. They still think this is all a big joke. This is just government control, government having control over our lives. Not that we should trust the government 100%, but I mean, come on, this is real. And some people are, getting kind of, that's why, even Arizona is getting to be kind of, the cases are rising, the death rate is rising. I think, well, I'm hoping with the vaccine being available soon. I mean, nobody knows. That's why I'm taking it seriously, and I think a lot of other people should. I think a lot of people are, is because we don't know when this vaccine. We don't have an exact date of when it's going to be available to us, and how many people it may be that only who knows how long it'll take everybody to get vaccinated. I would think that they would probably take the people that are really high risk first, and who knows how long it'll take to get all of them vaccinated. And I guess this vaccine has to be kept really cold. It has to be kept at like 90 or 90, 94 below zero. I just wonder what some countries are going to do, like India, because I guess over there they don't have the ability to keep. They wouldn't have the ability to. I don't know if they have to be transported in. Like they don't have the ability to keep things that cold. And as far as I guess it's just like the flu shot. There was one guy from Arizona, and I saw it on Google yesterday. There was an article on it, and he was one of the people that volunteered to see how this vaccine would work. And he did say that just like the flu shot, I usually get sick from it for a couple days, and then it's over. He had the two series of shots. He had the one shot, the one dose, and then the second dose like a month later, whenever it is you're supposed to get it. And he did say it just felt like the flu shot. It wasn't really any big deal. And it didn't have any side effects after the first dose, but he did say the second dose that he did get like the chills, the fever, but then by the next day he was fine. So yeah, it sounds like it's just like the flu shot, so I don't really have any fear there. At first I was saying like, I'm not so sure I want to take this vaccine, but I mean, hey, if it sounds like there's nothing wrong with it, if it gets approved by the FDA soon, I will definitely take it. The only thing that we don't really know about, and we'll see, hopefully there's no long-term effects from it, but we know about the flu shot and the MMR, polio, things like that. But one of my friends was saying that he doesn't know he's going to take the vaccine, but he's just a little bit concerned about the side effects, like years down the road, or decades down the road, we may not know about yet. But I'll take my chances. I mean, I'm 40. I'm not getting any younger, so why not? So yeah, it's kind of like a catch-22. I think a lot of people are getting relaxed because they know that the vaccine is going to be available soon. Grocery stores, everybody still has the mask on. Maybe you see like one or two people that don't have them on. And I mean, I don't care. It's their life, not mine. If I'm not really concerned about it. I mean, if I was concerned, I'm just gonna. Some people really, it's kind of stupid. They go up to the people and like, oh, you should have a mask on, and it's kind of like, if you're really that worried, you should stay away. I mean, I'm staying away from people like that. And, as long as that's the other reason for the social distancing too, the 6 feet. Um, I mean, if I were really that concerned, I mean, I wouldn't even be leaving my house. So, I mean, when I say that I'm not really that concerned about it, what I mean is I'm not panicked. I'm not like super paranoid. I mean, there are some people, I mean, due to being high risk too, but I mean, some people just out of paranoia, they haven't left their homes since this whole thing started back in March. But yeah, cases are starting to rise out in Arizona. The death rates are rising. But it's just that's normal, more cases, more deaths. The thing where it gets me is some people say, well, I mean, it is available. It's no big secret. You can look. It's I know you can go on and get results from the same day, probably within the last few hours. What really drives me nuts is when people say, oh, I don't care about the cases. It's just the death rate. I want to know about, well, number one, that's available to you, just like the cases are. You can Google it. And, you could go by state, you could go by the whole nation, but I did it by state. It has the daily death rate, and it has the daily number of new cases. But when people say, like, oh, I don't care about the cases, I only care about the death rate, well, number one, it's available to you. It's no big secret, so look it up. And then number two, more cases just goes without saying it's going to lead to more deaths. Now, the numbers fluctuate, and they may not be 100% accurate, but, there, it's just natural. There are times where you're going to have a certain amount of cases. Maybe a certain day out here we could have like 1,000 new cases, and then 15 people die, and then we could have another day where there's 1,500 new cases and only 5 people die. So it fluctuates. It's all nobody knows for sure the real numbers. It's all a big guessing game. But I still think we should just take our precautions, which I am. But yeah, it's up to you. It's up to you. I mean, really, only it's kind of like only 2-3% of the people that get that. I think the people that are really that high risk, that are really that got underlying medical conditions that have the ability. I think by now everyone's been exposed. So maybe that's another reason, but I think, I'm sure the people that are high risk, that have underlying medical conditions, are taking their precautions. Well, I guess in that respect, I don't really have to preach to the choir, but what really concerned me, I don't think another shutdown is necessary. I think, it's been shown that masks have caused, the cases to go down, the death rate to go down, so I think we should just go on with our lives, just keep doing that. Kids are in school, some schools have closed, but it hasn't been a major catastrophe. We haven't had, death, throughout the whole United. I haven't heard about any schools that have like a huge death rate. I have heard about some that have had cases, a very, very small amount of cases. But so many people are still struggling from the first shutdown, and I just think a second shutdown would just cause so much more financial ruin for the economy. Like, I don't know, I'm not even counting on that second stimulus. Who knows? I really don't think it's coming. So we really can't rely on that either. I think we should just forget, we could use it. If they do a second shutdown, they need to do a second stimulus. But if they're not, going to shut down, that maybe we could do. I'm sure there's people that could still use it. I could still use it. But, yeah, if they're not going to do the second stimulus, no. If they do another shutdown and they're not going to do a stimulus, that's just going to destroy the economy. But it really is a joke on the East Coast. What I heard, because they're talking about a second shutdown, and some of these, people are still hurting from the first shutdown, or some of them have just gotten back on their feet and they're going to fall off the wagon again. I don't want that. We shouldn't have that. But it's really a joke. Some of these people have gone, and I'd probably do the same thing too if that was my livelihood. I guess some bars were told they had to shut down unless they served food. And like there was a bar I heard they served French fries to stay open, microwave pizza. And I did hear about this one bar that were saying they could stay open. I don't know exactly who. I don't know if it was the bar owner. Probably not, but I don't know if it was the government that I don't know if it was the state government that was making that order, or whoever it was. But there was some big shot that was saying, you can have, obviously you got to wear a mask when you're in the bar. The bar can stay open, but it's like, oh, if you're not drinking at that moment, you have to have your mask on. You know, when you go to take a drink, yeah, pull your mask down, take your drink, but as soon as you're done drinking, put that mask back up. I mean, come on, give me a break. Just social distance. It should be fine. It's just like a restaurant. It should be fine. I haven't heard of any restaurants saying, oh, because you're eating constantly. You're not going to put your mask up and pull it down every time you put a bite of food in your mouth. I don't know if it's because the waitress goes up to the table, the waiter goes up to the table, but there was one bar I heard about that you had to sit at a table. They didn't want anybody sitting at the bar. Now, if it's just because the bartenders are close to the patrons for longer, maybe that's why. Maybe they're closer to the patrons for a longer amount of time, whereas the waitress is not as close to them for as long. Maybe that's what it is. I'm not exactly sure, but yeah, it really is kind of some of the things, some of the regulations, the rules about this has been kind of a joke in a way, and yeah, I just hope that the vaccine becomes available very soon, and everybody, majority of people take it. And I'm hoping by summertime this will all be over. But who knows? It's all a big guessing game. It'd be nice if it was over at the next few months, but at least we're nearing the end of it. At least we have some prediction as to approximately when the closure will take place. But yeah, we just can't have another shutdown. I just definitely don't want that. I don't think America can afford that at this point. But I mean, if they do it, they're going to have to offer a stimulus, some type of financial help to those people. But I don't think the second stimulus is coming. So if that's the case, then I say no shutdown. But I just feel that's just a little too much. I think businesses should still operate, but just have the mask mandate. And some businesses aren't even having a mask mandate. I know some some businesses out here. There is a mask mandate in Arizona since June 20th. 2020, but yet, some businesses you go into and they're like, oh, you can take your mask off if you want, and, and then that kind of makes you feel like, you see other people there with their masks off, and it makes you feel kind of weird about it. It's like, oh, and it's like, I'm trying to do what I'm told. I'm trying to protect you. I'm trying to protect myself. And it's kind of like when somebody tells me, oh, you can take your mask off, and they don't have one on. It's kind of like, you kind of feel like insulted. I mean, you kind of feel like you're insulting them by saying, like, oh, I'm gonna keep mine on. You might have the cootie, you might be sick, but I guess that's just the way it is. So yeah, comment, like, share, subscribe. Let me know some of your thoughts on this whole thing, and I'll talk to you all real soon with another great video. Hope you're having a good Christmas holiday season. I can't believe it's already December 5th. So before you know it, this COVID-19 will be over. So, all right, have a great rest of your weekend, everybody. Take care. Bye.